Sahana Vavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sah Viryankarvavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Bhadram Karnebhih Shrunuyama Devaah Bhadram Pashyem Akshabhiryajatraah Sthirairangai Stuštuvagam Sastanubhih Vyashema Devahitam Yadayuh Swasti na Indro Vriddhashravah Swasti na Pusha Vishwavedah Swasti nastarksho Arishtanemihi Swasti no Brihaspati Dadhatu. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. So let us recall from the last time what we discussed, a few points. One of them was Bhagavad Gita talks about both Pravritti Lakshana Dharma and Nivritti Lakshana Dharma. What does it mean? It talks about things to be done by those people who are extroverted, who are doers, who are go-getters. And it also talks about methods, methodology. You cannot hear me. I got a message. Is everybody else?
I can hear clearly.
Okay.
Anilji?
So
I can hear also.
Okay, good.
Fine.
We are good.
So Pravritti Lakshana Dharma is the method by which a person who is an extroverted, who is a doer, who believes in doing, he can work towards freedom from sorrow, lasting freedom from sorrow. And Nivritti Lakshana Dharma is methods which a person who is introverted, who is withdrawn, due to whatever reason, it could be due to age, it could be due to a genetic factor, it could be a mix of both or whatever. So a person who is introverted, who is withdrawn, even that person can work towards lasting freedom from sorrow. So Bhagavad Gita is a Yoga Shastra and Moksha Shastra. Its goal is to get freedom from sorrow for us. That is how it is a Moksha Shastra. And it also tells us how to achieve it. That's why it is called Yoga Shastra, the methodology. And the methodologies are of two types. One is Pravritti Lakshana Dharma and other is Nivritti Lakshana Dharma. So it is, Bhagavad Gita is not a master book of how to do things, how to manage things, etc. Yes, it is part of it. I mean, that is a subset of it. But how not to do things, even that it talks. Okay. Then we also discussed about Shreyas and Preyas. These two words came. And Arjuna had asked for Shreyas. He said, I am confused and I take refuge in you. He told this to Lord Krishna. And what is Shreyas for me? Please tell me. So we came across these two words, Shreyas and then Preyas. Preyas is what I like, and Shreyas is what is good for me. Then what I like, I need not consult anybody. That is inbuilt in me. But what is good for me, at times, I would say rather most of the times, because now we have the background of that happiness hypothesis, how we are helpless, how we are programmed to think in a particular way, and to do things in a particular way. We have like two personalities sitting within one person. So what is good for me is or cannot be decided by me alone. I need help. And what help? Consulting wise people, other people who are successful or who have lived such life, or the scriptures which they followed, which has been tested over length of time, centuries, and across the geographies. So that will decide Shreyas, not my whims and fancies. And then we also discussed how sometimes certain group of people or certain believers, they believe in a particular brand of philosophy or spirituality, where this Shreyas Prayas thing is so confused, and they ask you to follow your heart, hear the voice of your conscience. Now, voice of your conscience is such a loose word. It depends on the person. As I said, if the gut is not clean, if it is full of gutter, then the gut feeling will also be clouded. So you cannot depend upon your inner voice or inner calling all the time. And as Rajesh, if I remember a few classes earlier, he had asked particularly this question, which one we should be following. So I gave a thumb rule. It's not a rule which is 100% true and applicable in 100% of the times, but I will safely say 70-80% of the times, this thumb rule is very good. Something which is very urgent, which is reversible, one should go by gut feeling. Something which can wait, you can think over, mull over, and decide, take time to think, and which has a very long-term implication, then we should not just go by the gut feeling. Gut feeling can be a guide or a pointer, or I would say it may provide us a lead in which direction to think sometimes. Okay, sometimes it can be misleading too. But we should also give our rational self more time to think different arguments and all. So Shreyas is something which cannot be left to gut feeling. Okay, other than emergency situation, like a fight or flight, that syndrome, when we are in danger, that time Shreyas Prayas discussions cannot happen. That time you have to save your skin, and somehow whatever your gut feeling says, you run or you duck or you fight it out. So that's what we discussed. So that is what we did in the last class. And we also saw how Krishna was very surprised, and he expressed his surprise, even taunted Arjuna. What has happened to you? Suddenly, why are you behaving this way? You were so much prepared to fight, and suddenly now you are saying, I'm feeling weak, I cannot fight, etc. It doesn't suit you. It's like unmanliness. So that's how he did. And then Arjuna finally said that I surrender to you. Please tell me what is good for me. Then this shloka, can you share, Rajeshji, shloka number 11. Today
Sure.
I sent it to you.
Sure.
Yeah. Asocyan Sri Bhagavan Uvacha Asocyananvasocastvam Prajnavadamscha bhashase Gatasuna gatasumscha Nanusochanti panditaha. It's really a rebuke, I tell you. What did Bhagavan says? Bhagavan said, Asocyananvasocastvam. You are thinking or grieving about those people who should not be grieved about. It has a direct meaning and it has a implied meaning. Bhishma, Drona, Kripacharya. These were the three main people for whom Arjuna was really grieving. And then, of course, there were a few others. So these people should not be grieved for. Why? For two reasons. One is, if you look at them as ordinary mortals, then even then they don't deserve to be grieved for. Why? Because they were the culprits. They were participants in the adharma, which happened in the court of Dhritarashtra, and they didn't do anything. Okay, so if you can recall a few classes back, I said the rule was, if you are capable of stopping something wrong and you remain a witness to it and don't do anything, then you are equally a culprit for that crime. That was the rule at that time. Even in the modern laws, something similar is there. Because I remember many years back, somebody said that this is an official car, so you better better don't drive now, because if I go in an official car and if something happens on the road, and if I don't take action and just go continue my journey, that is against the rule. So let us go in some other car which doesn't have an official number. So that means when you are using the official position, and if you witness something wrong, then you have to take action, because then you are considered on duty. Do you understand? And so if you are in the court, definitely you are on duty. And if you are capable, then what did you do at that time? Vidura was also there, and he was only capable of voicing out his concern, which he did. He protested. He asked Dhritarashtra to stop it. And when nothing happened, so more than that he couldn't do, then he simply boycotted the court and he said, I'm leaving this court. And I think almost he resigned. This part I'm not very sure, but I think he resigned from the court. Of course, he didn't come back to the court later. That I know very well. But whether he formally resigned then or sometime later, this part I am not sure. I don't remember correctly. So anyway, so Vidura, what he could do, he did. Therefore, he was not responsible for what happened in the court when Draupadi was disrobed. Whereas these people, they were sitting there, they neither boycotted the court, so they were enjoying the facilities, they were on duty, and they were capable enough, and they didn't do anything. Therefore, they are the people who should not be grieved for. That is one meaning of asocyan. Okay, somebody who doesn't deserve being grieved for, जिसके लिए रोया न जाए, जो रोने का मतलब जिसके प्रति रोना आवश्यक नहीं है. Then there is another meaning to it. If you look at them as Atma, now I'm not using the word soul. Soul has a different meaning. Atma is not soul. Just as Rajeshji, Rajesh word cannot have translation. What will you call in English Rajesh? Rajesh will be Rajesh. If you want to translate, then there has to be one line meaning. It can't be one word meaning. Isn't it true?
Yeah.
So similarly, Atma cannot be translated as soul. It's not one word to one word meaning. Soul is a very different concept. They say animals don't have soul, plants don't have soul, only human beings have soul. Okay, that is the concept of soul. Whereas Atma, when we talk of, we say even animals have, even plants have, everything have, even non-living things, that Atma is present everywhere. So we are talking of Atma here. So if you consider these people as the Atma, then also they need not be grieved for. So they in whichever way you look at them, they need not be grieved for. Still you are grieving for them. You are thinking about them. Prajnavadamsya bhasase. So on one hand, you are grieving for somebody who don't deserve to be grieved for. And on the other hand, you are talking high philosophy of family tradition and the community getting destroyed and the tradition not getting passed on from one generation to another. That gap happens, and then the destruction of culture, all those big things you are talking. So you are talking like a wise person. Pragyavada means a person who talks wisely as a wise person. And on the other hand, you are acting in a way which doesn't suit a wise person. Gata suna gata sumsya. Okay. Nanu sochanti pandita. Those who are already gone or those who have not yet gone. Gone means dead. So those who are dead or those who are living. Panditaha means the wise, don't grieve for them. Neither for those who have gone, nor for those who are still living. So you yourself are so much confused. On one hand, you speak wisely. On the other hand, you behave unwisely. Okay, so this is the opening statement after that grief of Arjuna. Means after he asked for Shreyas. Then Bhagwan kept on talking. Next few shlokas are, he is talking from a high pedestal. He's talking like a wise person. Okay. So, like his talks are full of philosophy and wisdom. It is not to pacify the grief of Arjuna at the moment, but because Arjuna was talking with wisdom and trying to convince Lord Krishna through his wisdom, he is being replied back in the same language of wisdom. Okay. So next few slokas, they keep running about from the angle of the viewpoint of Atma. So then he says, Natu eva natvevaham jatu nasam natvam neme janadhipaha na chaiva na bhavishyamah sarve vayamatah param dehinosmin yatha dehe kaumaram yauvanam jara tatha dehantara praptihi dhiras tatra na muhyati. In fact, these shlokas and the next few shlokas, these shlokas are read after or just after the death of somebody in the northern part of this country, India. Even in South, I think they do it. Okay, because it talks about death and birth and how the transmigration of the Atma and the Jiva, etc. So it talks about all that. So now this is a very big challenge for me. Generally, whenever I take the Bhagavad Gita, up to the first chapter, things flow very well and very logically connected and all. The second chapter is a big, I would say, speed breaker or a bump. Now, I don't know whether to turn the car back and find another way. At times I have done that. I skipped the second chapter and straight away went to the third chapter, because the second chapter talks things abruptly. Okay. I'm not accusing Lord Krishna for that, because that moment possibly whatever relationship Krishna had with Arjuna and whatever the situation demanded, and in a brief time, he had to hammer down Arjuna and first actually shut him up. That look, wait, dear, you are getting confused. You're talking high philosophy, but your philosophy is faulty. And I will prove it how it is faulty. Okay, so he was in that mood. Now he was in that mood, but if the same mood is conveyed to a new listener, it creates a lot of confusion. And the second chapter is such a chapter, it covers the entire Bhagavad Gita. Really speaking, afterwards, it is the elaboration of this second chapter only. The entire remaining chapters, the remaining 16 chapters of the Bhagavad Gita elaborately talks only what has been given as a capsule in the second chapter. So it is such an important chapter, so concise and so abrupt from first to second, the transition, that it becomes a challenging thing, at least for me. Okay, because you flow in a particular way, in a very functional way, day-to-day life, and arguments of Arjuna regarding fight, peace, ahimsa, all these things. And suddenly you start talking of Atma. Now, where did Atma come when we are talking of Himsa and Ahimsa, death and living, and you bring in Atma? It looks absurd. Okay. I'm talking from another side. From one side, yes, it is very much irrelevant because I have already given the background. So second chapter becomes challenging. So maybe what we can do is we will quickly go through few slokas and skip a few. And whenever the context arises, we will come back to some of these slokas. So that way, it won't become boring, or it won't become like out of context. And in case, or by chance, if somebody has certain questions about certain slokas of this, then they become anyway relevant. So while answering them, I will cover them up. Otherwise, I will proceed further and come back later. I will start jumping and skipping the slokas, and later on, when the context arises, I'll come back. Okay? Because it is talking about the jiva leaves one deha. One deha means one body goes into another, but the jiva continues, etc., etc. It's very much confusing. Another thing is this word Atma. Atma is used in so many contexts. It has so many shades of meaning, and all are valid. So contextually, one has to take the meaning. Atma is taken as an individual jiva, something which is located in one body. Even that is Atma. Atma is taken in the sense of me, I. That is also considered Atma. Atma is also taken as something which is expansive, which covers everything. Nothing is outside it. That is also Atma. That is also called Brahman, but it is also Atma. So same word Atma is used in different, it has different shades of meaning, and in different contexts, each shade of meaning is valid. So we have to be careful while using the word Atma. Okay. And Atma, Dehi also is the another word for Atma. Deha and Dehi. Deha means body. Dehi means to whom the body belongs. Okay, so the person, and that person is Atma as an individual. Okay, so more we will come across this, but I don't like this word soul, even though this is visible here, okay, because whatever reading I have from Gita Press that I am presenting, but I am very, very averse to the word soul. Soul is not Atma minded. Okay, next.
You want to change it?
Yeah.
Okay, sure.
Avinashi tu tadvidhi yena sarvamidam tatam vinasham avyayasya na kaschit kartum arhati antavanta ime dehaha nityasyokta sharirinaha anasino prameyasya tasmad yudhyasva bharata yenam vetti hantaram yaschainam manyate hatam ubhautau na vijanitah nayam hanti na hanyate na jayate mriyate va kadachit nayam bhutva bhavita va na bhuyah अजो नित्य शाश्वतोयम पुराणः न हन्यते हन्यमाने शरीरे. So all of them, they talk of one thing: Atma doesn't die, only the bodies die. So if Atma doesn't die, why are you grieving? You are not killing anybody because Atma doesn't get killed. So better you fight and kill these people. It looks so absurd, okay? But don't worry. It is taught from the context of, because Arjuna was giving a high philosophy and he was putting forth his argument against fighting. Krishna is putting forth the argument for fighting. Tasmad yudhyasva bharata. Therefore you fight, O Arjuna. O Bharata. Bharata is addressing Arjuna. Next sloka, next set of slokas.
1 second.
I think 31 to 34, yes.
Okay?
Yeah.
Okay.
Then after talking at that level, at the Atma level, I think Krishna saw Arjuna's face and Arjuna might have looked very dazed. What are you talking? So then he changed his gear. Okay. And then he said, okay, forget about all philosophy, all Atma business and all. Even if you consider your Swadharma, Swadharmam api chavekshya, na vikampitum arhasi, dharmyad hi yuddhat shreyo nyat kshatriyasya na vidyate. Okay, so even if you think about your Swadharma, now we'll talk about this. Swadharma means what you are supposed to do. What you are supposed to do, depending on the stature in your society, whatever privileges you have enjoyed in the society, in a particular with a particular title, and your stage of life, there is something called Swadharma. Like we talk of the 4 ashramas: Brahmacharya ashrama, Grahastha ashrama, Vanaprastha, and Sannyasa. So they are stages of life. And then stature in the society, the Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra. So that is the stature in the society. Stature you want to call, or if, for lack of better word, I'm using stature, maybe I'll look for some even better word, okay? So depending on your profession, or let me use the word profession in the society, what you have been professing, and you were enjoying certain privileges due to that, and your stage of life, seeing all that, there is no better thing for a Kshatriya when he gets an opportunity to fight for dharma, and you are getting it. So in that case, you should not be wavering from uh, mm, taking a decision to fight. You should just go and fight. Now, let me explain. All these years, Arjuna had enjoyed the status of Kshatriya, of a prince. He was not the king, but he was definitely a prince. So he enjoyed those privileges. Now you enjoy all the privileges, and when the time to fight comes, that time you say, I resign. That doesn't work. If all the soldiers at the borders, they do this way, they enjoy all the salaries, but when the actual war is declared, they say, I resign now. Will that be acceptable? Not at all. So Arjuna was doing the same thing. He wanted to resign at a moment when it was inconvenient for him. Whereas he enjoyed all the privileges of a prince all through his life. He was prepared for it. So his Swadharma was, when the call for war has come, and especially when the war is a dharma yuddha. Why it was a dharma yuddha? Because there was no compulsion on anybody to take anybody's side. In fact, before the war started, Yudhishthira made a call. All those who think that they should go on the side of Duryodhana from my side, let them go. And those who think in the Duryodhana side that they should come on my side, then let them come. And some people did go from one side to other, or the other side to this side. So this war was more like a game. It was fought with a sportsperson spirit, sportsman spirit, because there were rules. There were rules that you, after sunset, you cannot fight. Before sunrise, you cannot fight. And if you want to go on the other side, you can go. And after sunset, they can each side can meet the other side. I mean, a person from one side can meet the opponent side. So that freedom was there. So it was more like a game and less of a war. Or I would say, even wars were fought with a spirit of sports at that time. In fact, till Alexander attacked India, more or less that thing was followed. In fact, when Alexander attacked at night from behind, the Indian king thought, how could a, 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 a hero like Alexander do this? It is just not possible. So they were surprised, they were taken aback that you can fight at night in the dark without announcing. So that was the first shock India got. And afterwards, the meaning of war changed. There were no rules. Whoever can win whichever way, it was all acceptable. Everything is fair in war. That became the theme. But before that, there were rules. You cannot attack somebody who is without weapon. In fact, I tell you, this is again almost a 20-year-old story. Okay, so whether it is valid now or not, I don't know. But 20 years back, it was very much valid. One of the persons whom I know is in army, very close, I know. So he was patrolling, okay, along with his soldiers. Now soldiers were elder, and this patrolling officer was younger ones, because he was just passed out from IMA and then joined this. And then he found on the Pakistan border, other side of the border, some ladies were there, and they were, I mean, doing some farm work or something in a region which was dangerous. In fact, he was suspicious that they were aiding some other soldiers of the opponents to lay minefield or whatever. And they were giving a cover to them by pretending as if they are doing some farming work. So he asked his soldiers that you open fire at them. Do you know what the soldiers said? They said in Hindi, and I will translate it in English, that Saab means boss. How can we fire? There are two reasons. Firstly, they are women. So women we cannot fire upon. And secondly, they are without weapons. So two things, like both the things go against, so we cannot fire. So we cannot fire. How can you order this way? So this officer was puzzled. Now how to convince them? He said that if you can't fire, I will fire. He said, no, it's not proper. It doesn't suit you. ये आपको शोभा नहीं देता. This is the Hindi. I mean, शोभा नहीं देता has no. I am not able to translate properly. I mean, it doesn't look nice upon you if you do it. Then he said, okay, you do one thing. I mean, see, for 10-15 minutes, he kept on thinking what to do, what not to do. Then he said, okay, if you can't fire to kill them, at least fire to frighten them. That you cannot, I mean, that nobody stops you. They said, yes, this we can do. Then they started firing on left, right, here, there, so that nobody is hurt, and the ladies ran away. Now, this has percolated in our system, in our blood. Do you understand? That you cannot fire upon somebody who is without arms, and especially if they are ladies. The same rule was applied during Mahabharata time. Shikhandi was kept in the front to give a cover. Okay? So that then Bhishma surrendered. He said, I cannot throw my weapons in front of a woman, because he used to consider Shikhandi as a woman. Another avatar of Amba or somebody, I think. Ambalika, I don't remember, one of the ladies. Yeah. So he used to consider Shikhandi as a lady, and he cannot throw weapon in front of a lady. So he was used as a cover during Mahabharata time, and Bhishma dropped his weapons, and then Bhishma was defeated. Otherwise, Bhishma can never be defeated. So how you see how things percolated in the system, and it is still in the blood of people. So this word Swadharma is such a deep word, and it has such a deeper meaning, and it has really gone into our system. So again, another thing is, dharma is not religion. The translation of word dharma is not religion. Dharma is dharma, and religion is religion. In fact, just as I said this even before, we do not have any Sanskrit word for divorce or talaq. Why? Because that concept didn't exist. So there is no Sanskrit translation of talaq or divorce. Similarly, dharma is dharma. Dharma has a broad meaning. You cannot say dharma is duty. Yes, dharma is duty. Then somebody says dharma is religion. Yes, dharma is also religion. Then there is a confusion. We are spiritual people. We are not religious people. This is a very common discussion. Very, very common. It's such a, I will say, senseless discussion. It lacks enough information, enough knowledge, and people start discussing. Vedic dharma was a spiritual religion. There was no difference between spirituality and religion. Everything was all combined. This distinction came from Europe, and then they foisted. First, they translated religion as equal to dharma, and then if dharma becomes religion, then we need spirituality separately. Here, Swadharma includes your pursuit for freedom from sorrow means moksha. It's part of it. It's not away from it. So you don't need a separate spirituality. Separate spirituality means you have to close your eyes, you have to meditate, you have to give up few things. No. At times you may have to give up, and at times you may have to pick up. Krishna was giving the instruction to Arjuna, Upadesha to Arjuna, that was for moksha, because he had asked for Shreyas. Shreyas is moksha. Ultimate Shreyas is moksha. And yet he is saying, get up and fight. Not once, almost 7 or 8 times in the Bhagavad Gita. So if Krishna is asking Arjuna to get up and fight, which is one of the deadliest of karma, okay, because fighting is a deadly karma anyway. So if he can say that, the deadliest of karma, he can prescribe for being spiritual, how can you separate spirituality from religion? In fact, we don't have the word religion. The nearest translation of religion could be faith, mata. Matam we have, mata, various mata, no? Mat जिसको बोलते हैं, अलग अलग मतभेद. So mata could be a nearest translation, not dharma. Religion is not dharma. Religion can be faith or a particular way of thinking. Dharma has a very wider meaning. That which sustains is dharma. Dharma includes values. Dharma includes your duties. Dharma includes even the laws of nature, because we say ye prakriti dharma. This is a dharma of prakriti. This is the dharma of the clouds. This is the dharma of the sun. This is the dharma of the moon. So the natural laws are also part of dharma. So dharma is such a wide meaning, and you first translate it as religion and then make a catch-up out of it. No, not acceptable. So, and swadharma is one's own dharma, what one needs to do at a given stage and profession in life. So considering swadharma and following one's swadharma is towards Shreyas. Swadharma is for Shreyas. Shreyas means growth, what is good for you. So how is it divorced from spirituality? Why this distinction between religion and spirituality? It doesn't exist here. And then they have another something called mindfulness, that they talk separately as if it's such a big religion in itself. Everything we talk about is so much mindful. So much mindful. Anyway, so thinking, if you talk about swadharma, I think we have to stop here sometime, yeah, because we have to keep some time for questions. So I'll just briefly say, even if you think from the angle of swadharma, you should consider fighting and not waver from your duty to fight, because there's nothing better for a Kshatriya than getting an opportunity to fight in a dharma yuddha. Dharma yuddha means a fight for dharma. Okay. Then the other shlokas maybe we'll see later. So Bhagavan changed the gears and he came at the duty level. What you should be doing, what you should not be doing. He first blasted at another level, that was the Atma level. Okay, that Atma doesn't die, then why are you worrying? You fight, nobody is going to die. Just kill them, nothing is going to happen. Then when he might have thought that no, it is becoming too much for Arjuna. He's not able to take it. Then he came back. He came down to the Swadharma level. He said, okay, even if you consider this that Swadharma has to be followed, then this is your Swadharma, you better fight. So this is how the Bhagavad Gita proceeds. And as I said, the second chapter, we will be skipping quite a few shlokas, and whenever required, we will come back. Okay. So very briefly, the summary. Bhagwan started at a higher level, as a level of Atma, wisdom, because Arjuna started with the level of wisdom. So he had to be shut at that level. Then when he found that Arjuna is not able to understand possibly, so then he changed the level and he came to the level of what you should be doing and what you should not be doing, what is proper for you, what is not proper for you, the Swadharma thing. And then he talked about this. So with this, we stop here. Any questions, please? Most welcome.
Stop sharing. Huh?
Yeah, please. Questions are welcome, not just welcome, in fact, they are necessary. Then only I know.
So Navneetji, I
Yeah.
guess in a way, we have to appreciate that sometimes either our ego, our arrogance, or pride should not be hurt when somebody is very ruthless or very aggressively making the point, like Krishna was making to Arjuna. And sometimes we react and ignore that that message, I guess.
Let me tell something about it. Arjuna had invited it. He surrendered and he said, I'm open to whatever you say. Shishyasteham shadhi mam tvam prapannam. I surrender to you. I am your Shishya. Tell me what is good for me. Then he blasted. And why Arjuna surrendered to Krishna? Because he had total faith. He knew he won't exploit him. And he also knew that Krishna will not be a beneficiary for whatever he is saying. So that's why he surrendered. And when he surrendered, then Krishna didn't mince words and he blasted straight. Because otherwise he will be contemplating on big philosophies and big thoughts and all, and he will find, as I said, confabulate reasons for not fighting. Okay.
Good. Yes. Yeah. Thank you.
Any other question, please? Okay. If there's no question, we end with the Shanti mantra. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. Thank you.